Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Fox98 here, and welcome to F1 2020, my team for you guys today here on the channel. F1 2020 is finally here, and we can get cracking with a brand new game, have loads of fun, and yeah, see where the future lies. So if you end up enjoying today's video, feel free to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. I've set my name, which you probably would have just seen just then. My number is number 98, of course. And as you can see on the screens right now, I did a straw poll to see which team you wanted me to drive for my team, and you guys wanted the independency. You guys wanted the Koreans to rise up. Force Korea is now a thing in F1. Who would have thought it? The Koreans are coming, and we're going to annihilate the human race of Formula 1, obviously. Anyway, starting off then, so we need to pick a sponsor. Now, with these sponsors, they've got a different set of objectives that you'll be getting from each of them. You'll get a weekly bonus as well as a goal bonus if you achieve the goal that the sponsor is asking for. Now, with that as well, you get a signing bonus. So with this initial signing bonus, this is the money that we're going to be able to use to start our finance, basically. So I had a look through all these options here. Now, the ones to start with are very, very easy. The further you scroll to the right, the more difficult they get. Now, the one that I was looking at the most was Shark as the sponsor, because all it needs is 5 Constructor Championship points in a season, and the goal bonus is pretty good, and the weekly income is not too bad, and that's exactly the one that I went for. It's got a high signing bonus as well, so that's something that I was very interested in. The next thing we're going to look at then is going to be the power unit side of things. Now, of course, there's a lot of things that I took into account when choosing this. Now, of course, this is before any form of performance patch, and we know that the Ferrari is going to be having a heavy nerf. So I decided not to put the Ferrari power unit, plus its power unit is expensive. So the power unit I decided to go for was Mercedes-Benz in the end. I took a lot of thinking about it, and I play tested the F1 2020 beta, and overtaking in the straight line is very key. Having a good straight line speed is something that we need. And now we're looking at our teammates. Now for you guys, it's not going to be the same selection of teammates as it was for me. It is completely random. So it's actually quite interesting that if you watch other content creators, they wouldn't have had the same selection as of what I've got. And luckily for me, I actually got the driver that I really wanted. Jack Aitken, who you can see as Carl is explaining everything for you guys. Because Jack Aitken is Anglo-Korean. So it's almost like F1 wanted me to take on the Koreans. We needed all of the Koreans together to build the Korean dream team, okay? And this is out in a bubble. No one else is allowed in the bubble, and that's where we're at. So we're going to be using Jack Aitken once Carl has gone through and described everything. But as you can see, there's a specific contract cost as well for each of these drivers. Of course, we have a lot of other people like Seto Camera. We've got Mick Schumacher, and then we have Delatraz. And I decided straight away, I saw Jack Aitken, and I was like, yes, Koreans, let's do this. And as you can see, looking at the budget in total, it's actually enough. We literally end up with, well, nothing left. We managed to get what we wanted. So we're going to take that. Now, next thing we're going to go through is the livery for the car. Of course, we need to actually make our car livery. And of course, we need a car that looks very much like North Korea. In other words, I'm going to replicate the North Korean flag. In short. So having a look then, these are some of the liveries that you get if you get the Schumacher edition, of course. There's some beautiful liveries in there actually, especially this red one here. I was like, if I could have changed that color scheme and had that livery, that would be banging, but we can't. So in the end here, I decided to go, I had a look at this livery here, and this one looked quite nice. In the end, I decided to go with Sunburst as my livery, and we're going to change through the colors now, get a bit of a darker blue in there, which was kind of actually perfect there in terms of the blue that I was looking for. And then we're going to drop that down into the red, and we've got the blue and red there for that. Annoyingly, I couldn't change the front number. I really didn't want it in black. I was hoping I could get it in white, but that's not what I can deal with at the moment. And sponsor decals, we can't do that just yet. And next then, we're going to be having a look at making our badge. Now, I sped up this bit, actually, the clip, because I spent ages trying to make it out. So the first thing here is I went with the triple arrow, because it pretty much looked like a fox. So I sort of thought, yeah, let's do that as a bit of a, as part of my logo anyway. And I was actually looking for one that looked like a bomb, because it's Korea, so what do you expect me to do? And I couldn't find one. I was a bit disappointed. There was nothing really aggressive, so I decided to go with this one here, Rotation, mainly because it looked like the scope off of a futuristic sniper rifle. And I thought, I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to go to war with these people, right? So we needed something that's going to look threatening, look menacing, look disgustingly beautiful in every single format. So as you can see here, I'm currently just changing the emblem around and trying to make it look as Korean as possible. And I thought that actually looked kind of sick, you know. I think I actually rechanged it again because I was being really, really fussy with it. So eventually I went with the triple arrow being a dark blue background, as you can see here. Then on the rotation color scheme, I changed the main piece here so that it was in a red, in a slightly darker red, just like that. And then I decided to go ahead and change the other piece so that it was in white in there to give me that bit in there. And of course now Jeff is actually satisfied for us for once, and as you can see we now get to change the team colors in the background, which is great for us. And then as you can see the final bit here, which we're now going through, just changing that. So now we've got blue, white and red. Absolutely perfect, and yeah, I'm very satisfied with that. And now we're going to have our first chat here with Will Buxton.
Okay, we're live in 5, 4, 3.
Hello folks, and welcome to the HQ of Formula One's newest team. We've been invited backstage to gain an exclusive insight into what could be one of the most exciting entries in the sport for many years. Now, we've seen a number of new teams enter the sport over the last decade, amongst their number Manor, Caterham, HRT and of course Haas. And while some have proved to be successful, others have morphed into different teams and some have disappeared completely. What marks this team out, though, as being something different is that its owner is also its driver. Now, there's a rich history of that in Formula One too. Sir Jack Brabham, John Surtees, Graham Hill and Bruce McLaren all drove their own cars in the sport, but it has become increasingly rare in recent years. What's very special about this team, though, is that while the team itself is new to Formula One, so too is its driver and owner.
Whatever happens this season, you've already made the history books. Tell me, do you feel up to the mammoth task of both managing and driving for a Formula One team?
So this is where it starts to get quite interesting, because later on in the questions, it's actually going to affect specific departments that you're in. So
Every team needs two drivers.
as you can see then, the first and the second question coming in then. So obviously, these first set of questions, as I was saying, they don't really mean anything. You could just pick your own answer and nothing really changes. But I believe it's the next question afterwards where it begins to change here. And let me see if it's this one.
No one aims to finish bottom of the table. Who's the team you're aiming to beat?
This one is a bit... this one affects your total acclaim. So if you aim to beat a specific team and you don't beat them, it does look bad on the reputation side of things. So I picked AlphaTauri.
How are you expecting the car to feel out on track?
So this is the first of the questions now where you are basically determining which area of the car you wanted to look at. So I actually initially praised the chassis.
The other teams now have years of experience, both on and off the track. How are you planning to catch up to them?
So with this question then, obviously I was having a look and thinking which one would be the best one to pick. Again, one is for the engine, one's for the aero, one is for the chassis, and then one is for durability. So this one, I went with the aerodynamics.
Overtaking is a key part of this sport. How have you ensured that your car can take advantage of each opportunity that comes your way?
So again, this is the second to last question now, which regards to the car itself. So I went again to help the chassis.
And finally, which of your new departments are you most proud of?
Now this one is probably going to make you take a little bit of time to think about it, and really can be a big one. For this one, I went with the aerodynamics.
Well, that's about all we've got time for here. We will see how this fledgling team fares in its first Grand Prix.
Okay, great, thank you. That's a wrap.
And there we go then. So that is it. We have completed that section. And now we're going to move on to the team activities and go from there. But yeah, initially by doing that, it actually gives you a bit of a head start on the R&D. So first things off, then we've got an activity timeline. So we've got 8 days, I believe it is, or 9 days to do something here. So we're going to go ahead and do an aero and chassis focus for that time. Next up then, we've got 5 more days available for us to use straight after the car reveal. So straight away, it's about which one did I really want to look at. And I think I went with the driver training camp to build some experience for my driver, my second driver, and then also get a little bit of resource points coming in, which can help us out. So that's the route that I went down, and again, it's going from my mailbox from my teams, and it's, oh, that new car smell from Carl, and then the IT department telling me about the system access. Now, next up here, we've got the facility sections. This is going to be able to get developed throughout the entirety of the season. And you can see that already we've actually made some upgrades over on the aerodynamics section. That has actually got a few extra pieces to its facility already built in for us. Looking at the R&D tree, then you can see by answering those questions, we actually went ahead and gained a couple of upgrades already on the car. So first of all, durability, we're actually the 4th best, which is pretty insane. On terms of the chassis, we're actually, again, very, very strong. Aerodynamics, we are actually very, very weak. I saw this and was like, oh god, we're quite far down. So we're going to need to try and do this here, and that's going to be putting the first upgrade onto the car. I can't actually do anything on the engine side of things, but we've got a very good power unit because we, of course, picked the Mercedes power unit as our one there. So, again, it's very crucial that you go ahead and you make sure that if there's a specific department that you want to have like a little bit of a head start on, choose that one. Best bet is to be very well all-rounded and go from there. But now, we've got the car reveal. Yeah, I must admit, that's actually a very sick cutscene. Very, very cool. Really, really like that one. So yeah, that is the first cutscene then for this, and now we get to move on and do a little bit more. So we are expecting our first upgrade for the aerodynamics to come for the Australian Grand Prix, which is going to be great for us. It means that on the front wing main flap, we'll have a little bit extra in there. So at the moment, then, we've got $218,000, and then as you can see here, we are actually able to do another upgrade to the aerodynamics. Because we've got that head start in the facility on the aero front, we can afford to do that new upgrade there. And I decided to go ahead and do a powertrain upgrade as well. It's not 100% necessary, but I can't actually upgrade the chassis section because I need to actually upgrade the facility. So there's something brand new for you guys. Obviously, with me not having a big enough facility, I can't research the next steps for the chassis side of things. So that's what we're going to do here. And you can see that we're automatically getting our running costs in there. We've got training camps going up, and we're now ready to go into the Australian Grand Prix, but under a bit of problems. My very first upgrade on F1 2020, it failed. So yeah, that's a pain in the backside, and unfortunately, it's now going to have to come at a later date. I'll be ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix, but it's not really the start that we wanted. I could have done with that being on the car, but annoyingly, it's not going to be there. So what can you do? It's nothing more that I can do apart from that. But as you can see now, we're getting straight into qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix, and look at my luck. The first race on F1 2020, and it's absolutely thundering down with rain. How lovely is that? I am very, very happy and proud to be in a soaking wet grid. But nevertheless, we're just going to have to get on with it and make do with what we've got, basically. So, as you can see then, out on track for my first laps of F1 2020. Of course, I did do practice, but I decided to just not bother showcasing that because it's a bit boring, I'm not going to lie. But as we come across the line, then our first lap is P5. But of course, we're going to be going out for another run, so 2 consecutive runs to try and just get a bit of temperature into the tyres. And you can already see that we're 1 second up on our previous best lap. So as we now start to make our way towards the start-finish line here, and we've got very low fuel in the car, but we crossed the line to go P7, and it's only half a second off the fastest lap time. So maybe the Koreans like it wet. You never know, right? You never know. But as we come across now to the final corner here on my next flying lap, annoyingly, I couldn't find any time to improve. I was very close to improving, but it wasn't quite enough there. So annoyingly, we didn't actually improve on that initial run that we set at the start of the session. So when it came towards the end of the session, unfortunately, we languished down in P20, which is not a good start for us. And yeah, we definitely could have done better overall. The one thing that I'll also disclaim as well is my helmet. I forgot to change it for this episode. Episode 2, it's already been changed. I just forgot that I needed to actually change my helmet. Had a bit of a brain fart in that process, but Charles Leclerc is fastest in Q1, and Jack Aitken actually qualified in P18. So we were only 1.4 seconds off the pace, which is promising signs. If we were like 2 seconds off of the pace, would have been a bit worse.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it.
Yo, my garage looks sexy.
The weather hasn't been ideal in qualifying. What's your take on it?
Yeah, it was pretty decent.
Why do you think you weren't as quick as your teammate today?
That is an interesting one. There's a section there that's unlocked, and that's probably going to be due to something that we need to upgrade facility-wise. But, yeah, I decided to just not answer them.
Your qualifying pace didn't put you at the front of the grid. Will this be a problem tomorrow?
I'm a brand new team entering the sport for the first time. What do you expect me to do? I'm just not going to answer again. Shortly.
Sounds like there's some work to do back at the factory.
Wow, that's a bit of a... That was savage! Oh my god! Is it Claire? I'm sure it's Claire. You have become... You have threatened the Koreans very heavily. I'm going to have to engage war upon you media scums. Anyway, with that being said and done, let's get into the race.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. And it's make or break here at Albert Park, home of the Australian Grand Prix since 1996. And home to round one of this year's Formula One World Championship. Just south of Melbourne's downtown business centre is the one and only Albert Park circuit. 3.3 miles of public roads, closed for the weekend of course, make for a bumpy circuit with little undulation. There are 16 corners around the lake and a couple of good passing opportunities here as well, thanks in part to the DRS zones into turns 1, 3 and 13. Can Mercedes start with victory in their bid to win a 7th consecutive Constructors' title? Could Ferrari establish an advantage early on? And with 22 cars on the grid, how quickly can the new team find their footing? Well, it's great to be back, Anthony Davidson. We've got a lot to talk about this year.
That's right, Crofty. It felt like a long winter, but it's good to finally be back. I have to think the usual suspects will battle it out at the front, but there are always going to be some teething problems early on in the season, so whoever can keep on top of their issues will have the advantage today.
As I mentioned earlier, we're up to 11 teams this season, with a new entry run by, well, of all things, an owner-driver. That's something we haven't seen in this sport since Hector Raback over 4 decades ago. So how are they looking so far?
Ever since their participation was announced, there were questions being asked about whether an outfit like this could survive, and certainly it's proving to be a trial by fire so far. Let's hope they can continue to draw in investment and find a little more pace as well.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Alexander Albon, and Verstappen, Ricciardo, Ocon, Raikkonen, and Lando Norris, Giovinazzi, Sainz, Romain Grosjean, and Magnussen, Stroll, Perez, Pierre Gasly, and Jack Aitken. Kvyat, Thomas, Latifi, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Alright, so on the grid then to start this Grand Prix off, and initial strategy was to start from the soft to the medium, soft to hards in the Grand Prix, but I had to look at the medium tyres, and as you can see, the projected race time is actually 1.5 seconds quicker. So I thought to myself, well, if it's faster, let's do it. Why not? We've got nothing to lose. We're a backmarker team until we build our way up. So let's go straight into it and try and get on with it then. So as you can see then, we are on the grid to start F1 2020 My Team. We have got 5 red lights and it's lights out. We go here to start off F1 2020 season in style as we get off the grid then from 20th on the grid. We actually got a very slow start compared to our rivals as we now go in towards the first corner here. Got to brake nice and late and try and go down the inside as many cars as we possibly can. We've got past Jack Aitken and all that. Hamilton and Bottas lead out front as we now fly our way down in towards turn 2. Aitken actually got back at me there in the initial phase, but now we're going to go down the inside of the AlphaTauri of Daniel Kvyat and then also Sergio Perez in the racing point. But I believe Perez is going to get a better run here. We go a little bit wide actually. A bit of contact there between myself and Daniel Kvyat on the exit there, or is it Gasly actually? I can't remember which Tauri it was, but it was one of them. But we did make a bit of contact there, but we're okay. No damage done on our end, so I'm cool with that, you know. It was Pierre Gasly that we made contact with. At least that clears that up now. Further on then into the first lap of the Grand Prix here, we're onto the back of Sergio Perez now, and then we've got Magnussen in front as well, so we're going to try and see if we can get onto the back of these guys very, very quickly now. We're getting a great slipstream here from Sergio Perez, as we're now going to launch the car down the inside here on Sergio Perez. A little bit of contact made, sidepod to sidepod, but if you know anything about the Koreans, we like to get the elbows out and get a little bit rash, you know, so that's what I'm saying. If you want to start a war, I'm more than happy to, actually, you know, just sign the contract, the declaration of war, and we'll get on with it. As we now move on to the back of Kevin Magnussen, of course, I really want to beat the Haas cars in particular, because they're American, and, you know, the Koreans and the Americans were a little bit dodgy, so here we go, then attacking K-Mag now in the background here, as we're now going to go in towards the first corner, trying to go around the outside of Magnussen. We try and make it work, actually, but we just get shoved down the road there. I went a little bit deep into the first corner in fairness as well, which doesn't bode well now as Sergio Perez here in the Racing Point. It's going to come back at us now in towards the second corner, but we're actually going to hold that one off there. We've got the inside line covered, and we can just shove the Racing Point out nice and wide, and that maintains P16 in the Grand Prix after starting in P20. So 4 places gained on the first lap is not actually that bad. On to lap 3 now of the Grand Prix. We're on the back of Magnussen here now, who gets very close there with the front wing, and Stroll and Sainz up ahead, having a little bit of a scrap as we now try and negotiate our way through. We're getting very close to the back of Magnussen, but we are going to make sure that we get this move done on both these cars. There was a little bit of a dive extra on Stroll, but I wanted to confirm the overtake on Magnussen more than anything, and I had to brake later, and luckily Stroll was aware of what I was up to, which was to dive straight past him. So thank you very much for that. We're now into 14th place, and we can try and get cracking with some more overtakes as we're onto the back of Carlos Sainz now in the McLaren. Crucially, Sainz has started this race on the medium compound tyres, but one thing I was noticing, as you can see it very much there, through the turn 11 and 12 chicane there, the aerodynamics was very, very poor on this car. We saw that in the R&D charts, and it was quite clear to see. In high-speed corners, this car is awful, like genuinely awful. It has no stability whatsoever, and it's something that I really need to put a lot of focus in as we go in towards this season, because the it just slides around so much, and I just can't quite handle it. So yeah, I'm gonna need something around that line. But as we now have a look at your lap 6, Stroll now is going to have a little look here. He's going to go for it up the inside there. Let's see if Lance Stroll can make this one stick. I think he made contact with the side of my car there. But as we go on through, sliding through, this is what I mean. This car is not very stable. And that's allowed Carlos Sainz to pull off into the distance now as we press onwards here. A little bit of a tyre wear coming in, but we're all right now. So we've gone to lap 8 to start lap 9 now of this Australian Grand Prix. Sainz now 3 seconds clear as we're under pressure from the Racing Point of Stroll. We go wide in towards turn 1. Get off wheel on the grass there. We managed to hold off against Stroll, but the back end is getting a little bit loose now. Front tyre temperature is up to 105 degrees, so we're overheating the front tyres, which is something we really need to be careful of now as we go in very, very deep into this corner. But Stroll is still on our side there, but we've managed to stay in front of Lance Stroll. Now, I actually went in a little bit deep there to try and cover off Lance Stroll as much as we could, and actually turned out to be quite a good shout there as we now move into the next part of the lap here. And staying in front of Stroll for the time being, but Sainz now 4.1 seconds clear. So this fighting that we're doing with Stroll behind is really not helping us now as he gets a fabulous run through here. Clearly using a lot of his ERS now to try and make this move stick, but we're going to fend off around the outside once again here and get past Lance Stroll in the process now and maintain P14 on the grid. Now on to lap 11 of the Grand Prix. We're in 11th place here, and the front runners are coming in for their first stops. And annoyingly here, Verstappen has come out of the pits, and he's just about held me up a little bit there, compromised my run that I really wanted to do through here. And Stroll now has got a brilliant exit here out of turn 1. He's going to fly on through, but we're going to go again around, down the inside, should we say, and make the move stick on Lance Stroll and protect the 11th place that we're currently in at the moment. Vettel is in front of Verstappen. I believe one of the Mercedes cars is in front of Sebastian as well. It's on to the end of lap 11 to start lap 12 of the Grand Prix. We're coming in for our first stop of the race now. So as you can see, we're pitting for a set of the medium compound tyres. A little bit slow actually from the boys. I thought they'd be a little bit quicker than this, and crucially as well, I don't know why, but Jack Aitken came in at the same time as me. So I don't know what Jack was trying to do and why he bothered to come in at the exact same time as me, but he has done, and it was a bit clumsy from him. But yeah, a bit of a mix-up there from the team, as we've now got Kevin Magnussen, who actually came in about 2 laps earlier. He's done the undercut on us, but crucially, he's on the hard compound tyres. So we've got the fast and medium tyres at our disposal. And Alex Albon there is out of the Australian Grand Prix. So disaster for the man in the Red Bull. He is not going to be able to finish the first race of the season, and there is Lance Stroll. He stayed out a lap longer than we did, and crucially, that was enough to make us stay in front. But Lance also going for the medium compound tyres, so clearly, Lance is getting into the mind of a Korean and is realising that we're geniuses. Albon there is out of the race. You saw him pull up to the side. Now straight onto the back of Kevin Magnussen here, lap 17 of the Grand Prix now with the DRS open. We're going to go for it down the inside. Magnussen gives us very little room through there. There's a little bit of contact actually being made, and now there's more contact between myself and Kevin Magnussen, but eventually we get the move done there on K-Mag. I'll be perfectly honest, I think I was a little bit rash against Kevin Magnussen in that scenario, but unfortunately for me, nothing else happened in the Grand Prix, actually. I had a very clean-cut race from then. I built the gap to Magnussen to about 3 seconds. Stroll then overtook Magnussen. And from that point onwards, I just cruised the car home, and I believe one of the other cars DNF'd and we're up into P12. So as we cross the start-finish line then, and our first race for Force Korea, we cross the line, and it is P12 on the roads after starting P20. I'll take it. That's a very, very solid start to the season there. We get driver of the day, which is awesome. Of course, you need to respect the Koreans. That's all I'm saying. If you're not going to respect the Koreans, you aren't going to get the respect back. Now, the Mercedes-Benz team take the first win of the season. And as you can see there, it is Valtteri Bottas that's top step of the podium. Surprise, surprise, it's the exact same Mercedes result as in Austria that just happened. Funnily enough as well, you'll be able to see on the graph and the standings very shortly. Now, I actually skipped the podium here because I thought it would skip this cutscene and then go to the podium cutscene, in which I was very much incorrect on that memento. But yeah, that's a bit awkward, but it doesn't matter. Oh no, I skipped it. Alright, that's my fault then. I thought I didn't skip it. Okay, that makes me look a little bit clumsy. But as you can see, Lewis Hamilton finished in P4 for Mercedes-Benz. Surprise, surprise, that's the same as Austria. I'm predicting a lock here. Did Charles Leclerc get P2? Lando Norris was the other driver to retire, but I didn't actually catch when Lando DNF'd from the Grand Prix. Did Charles get P2? Oh my god, yes, I am predicting so much in this, my team. It's just amazing. But having a look at the standings then, of course they all stay the same, but Bottas got the fastest lap of the race, so he'll take that one in his stride. And of course, we're 12th in the championship, which is not too bad. Constructors Championship wise, Mercedes lead Ferrari ahead of Renault in all of that. But overall, it was a solid race. On the medium compound tyres, I was feeling so comfortable. On the soft tyres, however, I was really not happy with the car. Maybe because I was learning a bit more as we went along there. Now, of course, we go back to Claire again. Now, of course, you know, me and you've got a bit of issues here. So, yeah, so now she... yes, because... Yes, when was it not... I mean, in fairness, it was a little bit... I actually answered that one, yeah, but it's a bit rough.
You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling?
I wasn't struggling for grip. I mean, the car has no grip, but, I mean, I didn't hit any walls.
Sounds like there's some work to do back at the factory.
Sounds like there's some work that needs to be done with your attitude when you're talking to Tom Jong-un in all of this, okay? Right? We need to just sort you out for a second. But anyway then, as you can see, once the race is finished, we then get ourselves the team acclaim, which pretty much just brings the publicity towards yourself here. So we actually got up to level 2 in the team acclaim. And then in terms of the cash that we get for the weekend, we get 90,000 in total, thanks to a little bit of damage, actually, that we took there. So I'm not sure where we took the damage. I'm guessing maybe if we did... Well, I mean, I'd say that, actually. We made contact with Perez and also K-Mag, and my move on Mag was a little bit crazy. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. But that makes more sense now as to why we actually did that. So, yeah, that makes more sense. But, guys, that is going to wrap it up for part number 1 of F1 My Team. If you guys have enjoyed it, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. Next episode, we're going to be going over to the Bahrain Grand Prix. Hope you guys can tune in and enjoy that video. If you've enjoyed this one, leave it a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Take care all. Peace.